We're gonna start with the dark side of having ADHD so that we can end on the brighter side. Fair enough, right? You have troubles focusing on individual tasks and your brain is constantly seeking new stimuli to satisfy its craving for dopamine, making it very difficult to stay focused on repetitive activities. And on top of that, that constant chase of dopamine can be quite exhausting in the long term. However, on the brighter side, you are good at seeing the bigger picture. Your brain's ability to see connections between different concepts allows you to solve more complex problems because you can identify patterns that others might miss. Focusing on tasks that are not interesting to you can be nearly impossible. This isn't a lack of discipline, this is a neurological challenge that you have to deal with every day. For people with ADHD, tasks that do not provide immediate reward and excitement can feel like torture. But when you do find something truly engaging, then your ability to hyper-focus kicks in. This intense concentration allows you to dive really deep into your interests, and sometimes this can lead to quite impressive achievements within quite short periods of time. Risk-taking behaviors can be another common sign of having ADHD. This can manifest in various ways, such as increased number of accidents, impulsive decisions, drug abuse, legal troubles. Basically, the search for novel and stimulating experiences can sometimes put you in quite dangerous situations. And actually, when you look at statistics, the picture can get quite dark, so I'm thinking about making a video just on that. On the more positive side that we quite much need right now, your risk-taking nature can make you quite adventurous, and yes, it can make you take risks when others wouldn't dare to do so. Innovation requires risks. Coming up with an idea that didn't exist before, acting on it, creating something that it's only in your vision, it takes a little bit of craziness. Yes, it's not going to be always successful, but it can be quite impressive sometimes. And yes, being a risk taker can sometimes create quite unique experiences, enriching your life, making it feel more colorful, more interesting, more fulfilling. Basically, as somebody with ADHD, you are much more likely to regret something that you did impulsively than to regret something you never even started, because you start a lot of projects, you act on your interests, you are not missing out on things that you want to do. There are other people who have struggles with that, so that's a positive side. Emotional sensitivity is increased with ADHD. You might find yourself quite often overwhelmed by emotions, making it complicated to deal with relationships and daily interactions with people. This sensitivity can become more challenging with age as our responsibilities and societal expectations increase over time. Yet this sensitivity also makes you quite empathetic. You're often able to understand and connect with other people's emotions, which helps you create really strong bonds with people. You also have a strong sense of justice and fairness. People with ADHD are usually not the ones to lie and manipulate, because you cannot sleep with yourself at night knowing that you're being unfair. And that's quite admirable. However, keep in mind that fairness is quite subjective, and sometimes your demand for things to be fair according to your moral values can actually make you judgmental towards people who have different values. And while we're on the darker side, as you grow older, managing your ADHD symptoms can actually become more difficult. The cumulative effect of years having to cope with the challenges of ADHD can lead to stress and burnout. Some people would say that with age things get better, some will say it gets more difficult, and I would say the difference is whether or not you have support system and strategies that help you deal with your symptoms. If you don't have them, yes, the longer you have to struggle with something, the more stress and the more burnout and the more exhaustion. But if you are constantly seeking new information how to deal with your symptoms, if you're trying to connect with others who also have ADHD to look for insights from their experience, then in that sense, it makes sense that over time, you'll be more equipped to deal with your symptoms. So basically, try to make your life easier by learning new information and connecting with similar people. Otherwise, it's going to get heavier and heavier over time. However, your adaptability made you more resilient. Yes, I know, when you were growing up and having to meet neurotypical expectations, you were suffering. But the fact that you survived it means that you learn how to survive in diverse, challenging environments. You are equipped probably with like a bucket of tools how to survive in a difficult situation. You are quite adaptable to changes. You're quite adaptable to different demands. This is something that you can actually turn into a bullet point on your resume. And another thing that you can actually turn into a bullet point on your work resume is that you're really good in crisis situations. Remember at the beginning when we said that your constant need for stimulation can be exhausting? Yes, there is a dark side of this, but this can also be an asset. The novelty and the adrenaline of crisis situation spikes up your dopamine, meaning that you actually can remain quite calm and function more effectively than others who may panic instead. Bottom line is that how you experience your ADHD depends on different factors. Do you have support system? Do you learn how to cope with your symptoms? How severe your symptoms are? Where did you grow up and with what kind of parents? Where are you now? What kind of job you have now? Are you having good balance between things that you should do, responsibilities, and things that you genuinely enjoy doing, interests and challenges? ADHD is cluster of symptoms. It does not feel the same to everybody. But the point of this video was to remind you two things. One is that there are some benefits, some better, brighter parts of having ADHD. And sometimes looking for those and appreciating them can help you deal with the ups and downs, deal with the dark side. And the second reminder is that even when it's really dark and your dopamine is really low and you feel flat and numb and nothing really interests you and you just feel dysfunctional, your misery is shared. You're not alone in this, and there are other people who have to go through that as well, and you can learn from them how to deal with it better. And making this video kind of reminded me of how having an ADHD is like you are a walking contradiction. You need routines, but you're bored with them. You need new challenges, but change is overwhelming. It's really all the time the ups and downs of dopamine. It comes with its pros and cons. You cannot rewire your brain and change it entirely. So it can benefit you to learn to accept the darkness and cope with it better over time, but also learn to accept and embrace the brightness and see that somehow this can also help you. Thank you for watching, and if you want to watch something else on how it feels to have ADHD, a bit more relatable video as well, I recommend you watch this one, and I'm gonna see you there or in the next video. Bye.